Hello, I am Dr. Heather Neal. I am co-founder and CEO of Global Nutritional Healing, and I'm here today with my other co-founder.
Hi there, my name is Joy Feldman, and I too am co-founder and director of Global Nutritional Healing. And today we are fortunate to have Angie Mitchell with us, hailing from Ohio, right? The Buckeye State?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got family that live in Ohio, and I know about all the sports there. Anyway, we're very, very happy to have you, and I'm going to give you to Heather to ask some questions and get to know you.
Hi, Angie. I just wanted to know what's your story? What led you to mineral balancing?
Wow, that's a big question.
It is,
I'd
it's huge.
say it is. I'd say probably just tons and tons of research. My family had a bit of a lead poisoning incident. My son's lead levels tested pretty high when he was a year old. So the doctors really weren't much help, and he continued to get worse over the years. And I researched every detox you can think of, and he wasn't getting better. Even though his blood levels were coming down, he was actually getting worse. And so I eventually did come across nutritional balancing and decided to put myself on the program because it really made sense. So I put myself on the program to try it out and noticed such a huge improvement. I also was having problems with toxicities myself. I had a mouthful of mercury fillings on top of the lead poisoning. So I was
Oh,
in pretty rough shape health wise. So after about 4 to 6 months, I had all the fillings removed and noticed such a drastic difference. It's like it finally turned my nervous system off and I started to finally feel better. So I immediately put my son on it and the rest of the family. And he actually started to get better. Within a couple weeks, he started talking. And at this point, he was almost 4 years old. Yeah, and he wasn't
oh.
talking. He was having constant emotional fits. He was banging his head on the wall. He was a mess, poor kid. So he immediately started getting better. He was calmer. We saw the lead come out on his hair test, and so it was something that we continued doing and have been doing ever since.
I have a question about the lead.
Yeah.
When you first noticed that your son probably wasn't feeling okay, did you have blood work done on the lead levels?
So when children are about a year old, a lot of doctors will insist upon a lead
Lead screen.
screening.
Yes, yes.
And we didn't think we had anything to worry about, but we had done some, things in the home. We replaced some windows and knocked out walls and put up new walls in the home. Even though we tested a lot of the paint surfaces that were negative for lead, we decided to do it anyway, only to find out that the paint on the outside of the house was lead based. And then we also found out the paint in the basement was lead based. And at the time, we had a cat that would go into the basement for her litter box. And so she'd roll around on the ground, get covered in dust, come back up into the house. So we were pretty shocked to see his number so high. And actually, health wise, he
I'm
seemed to be,
sorry. I'm
yeah,
sorry. When you said the numbers were so high, that was from the doctor, from blood
yes,
test. That's what
yes,
I wanted to know.
yes.
And it also on the hair test, it followed the high levels as well for the lead.
So initially it was about mid levels, and then after his first retest, it skyrocketed.
You know,
So
it's I'm just stopping you because I think people listening will be fascinated to hear how the hair and the blood followed each other.
yes, yes, it was interesting because we were doing blood tests every month,
Mhm.
and his levels started out at a 17, and we got them down to somewhere around 10, and then they skyrocketed back up to 25. Which was a bit upsetting. Our doctor actually was very upset with us at the time because of it, but we got the levels back down to a 5. They stayed at a 5 for about 6 months before I decided to stop taking him in. because he wasn't improving, and we didn't know if he was actually excreting the lead or absorbing it into his bones.
Right.
Because
An
there's
exposure, a continual exposure. Yeah.
exactly. And we didn't know if he wasn't really getting better. He wasn't speaking. He was having emotional meltdowns. He would cry for hours sometimes, and there was nothing we could do to console him. We would just kind of just hold him if we could. A lot of times he wouldn't even let us hold him. It was difficult.
Oh, I feel
Thank
for
you
you.
for
I went
sharing.
through something similar with my daughter. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. It's like there's so little. It's like I don't know what to do for you. And there
right.
is so little information on this. There's, in fact, a lot of information that says basically when you're exposed to lead, that's it. There's no getting it back out.
Mhm.
So that was also frustrating. And a lot of the doctors kept reiterating that, once he's exposed, that's all there is. There's nothing we can do, which was very frustrating. And I wasn't willing to accept that.
You're like, surprise, I found something.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. And now he's fine. Like he does well in school and so he's not having the emotional meltdowns anymore. So he's doing great.
How long did it take you on the hair tissue mineral analysis program for him to stabilize?
I would say a good few months to a year, because initially within the first couple weeks, he started speaking. And at this point, he was about 4 years old and he wasn't really talking at all. And he was getting ready to go to kindergarten within the year. So he had like no vocabulary. But I'd say he kind of went back and forth with the emotional fits over a year's time. I'm guessing as he was eliminating some of the lead and some of the other metals, there was a lot of metals that, various metals that came out, but mostly lead. And I'd say after about a year's time or so, he had stabilized emotionally and was doing really well at that point.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's a
That's
wonderful story
wonderful.
with a happy ending, which is
Yep.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, he got his life back. He has got his life back,
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
oh, well, yes, are so excited to have you. So with your story, now, how do people work with you if they want to work with you as a practitioner?
So I actually work in a health food store at a retail level as well. So I have a lot of people that I meet on a daily basis when I'm at the store. And we can talk about things health wise. A lot of people are struggling with this or that, adrenals, fatigue, insomnia, things like that. But I mostly work with people over phone, over internet, email, that kind of thing. I don't do too many in-person meetings, but people are welcome to come and talk to me in the store, obviously, and discuss various things that are going on with their system. But
Yep.
yeah, mostly online.
Okay, so what I'll do is when we post this, I'll put your contact information to get a hold of you so they can
Sounds
work with
good.
you. Yes. So what are some of the benefits of becoming a practitioner that you found?
Oh, being able to help people. It's so exciting when people come up to me and they're like, for like the first time ever, I don't feel like I have to take naps all day long. For the first time ever, I wake up in the morning and I am not dragging out of bed. For the first time ever, I'm not getting sick 5 times every time winter comes around. So it's so exciting to hear people improve cognitive function. So many people, their brain fog clears up and they're able to function better. They're able to get things done. It's so exciting to hear stuff like that. I have one client who reversed her osteoporosis, which
Mm.
is really exciting. And she was 36 years old. So she was
Oh,
younger
yeah.
too.
And she did it
So
with
she was able
tests.
to
She
reverse
did it
that.
with tests too. We've seen it on
Yes.
tests. Yes, that
Yep.
was
Yep.
wonderful.
Yeah, it was exciting because she had to have a couple doctors come in to approve the DEXA scans because they weren't understanding. They weren't believing the results.
Yes, it's very
So they were
nice.
left scratching their heads. It was fun for her.
And what would you say what did you like about the training? our training?
The training, there's so much information. It's interactive as well. So having someone else to bounce information off, because sometimes, you read information, you hear information, we interpret it one way, but when we're able to speak to other people and see how they interpreted it, their perspective, it kind of gives you a new perspective on it. So it's a really interesting way of learning.
Wonderful. Well, Angie, we're so happy to, do you have any questions for her, Joy? Any other questions? No?
No, she did a wonderful job answering
Well,
those.
we're so happy
questions.
to have you as a practitioner, and we will list your information so that people can find you. So thank you for meeting with us today, Angie.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Mm.